What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zep, and welcome to the Rehab Christian Center Sunday morning experience. I'm so excited to be here with you and so grateful that you tuned in today. I'm just grateful to be here. This is part 4 of It's Done. And listen to me, y'all. If you have been following this series, you have to agree. This has been one of the most powerful series that we've ever had. And it's been a really good transition as we think about, how we are naturally transitioning into the fall. This series has really been a great transition for us spiritually, right? So if you've been tuning in every week, this is again part 4. So if you've been watching every week, I know you will agree with me that this has been just an incredible series, and it's really covered some powerful things that we need to think about as God continues to transition all of us to so many different areas and places and spaces in our lives. And so I'm excited to be here today for part 4. Do me a favor, I want you to start liking the video and sharing the video now. Would you do that? And go ahead and wake everybody up that's not up, and tell them to jump on the air right now. We're live on all of our networks: Facebook, I was about to say Facebook Rehab, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We're on all of our networks this morning. And this is going to be a tremendous word. And I'm excited to be here with you this morning. And it is my goal not to be with you long. That's my goal, but that was my goal last week, and it got out of hand fast. Last week was incredible. Go back and watch the video. My son said, "Daddy, did you really get up and run around the house?" I said, "I did. I literally got up and ran around the house." It was an amazing word, and certainly the Lord met us in a tremendous way. And again, just so grateful to see all of you here, to have your presence with us. Start liking the video, would you? Sharing the video, and let everybody know. Let me get to my notes and let everybody know that we're live and on the air this morning. I want you to know that I've been praying for you this week, and it is certainly my hope that things are as well as they can be for you and your family, and certainly for everybody connected to you. This is a wonderful time of the year. I love this time of the year, to be frank with you, because fall season. I would rather. Though I would rather be hot than cold, I am very much cold natured. I love the fall season that is on us, and I certainly hope that you are making this transition well. Continue to pray for our children that have returned back to school. I think every child now is officially back in school. Nobody's this late in the game, and I want you to continue to pray for children that are back in school. What made me really think about it, I have clients that are in other countries that start at much different paces. And on one of my workshop sessions yesterday, I had folks from uh, Canada and Abu Dhabi and all kinds of different places who had different cadences when it comes to going back to school. And so it was just a reminder to just make sure everybody knew that I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your children. If they're back in school. I'm praying for you if you're back in school. So many of you adults are going back to school and getting degrees and certifications. I think it's an amazing thing. As you probably already know, I'm an avid believer in education. And so while education doesn't necessarily answer all things, it answers a lot. And so how prepared you are for the things that you've been called to do is critically important to your success in being able to do it. And so I want to challenge you to continue to do that, and as much of build up yourself as much as you can, so that you can be as best in whatever area you've been designed to be. And we certainly know you'll be blessed because of it. Listen, again, like the video, share the video. And again, I want you to go ahead now and just make sure you let somebody know part 4 of It's Done is on, and tell them to tune in, because it's going to be powerful. All right. Start liking the video, again, sharing the video. We're going to get ready to walk through the declaration. And I promise you're going to be excited that you're here this morning. Praying for all of you that are back in sports, especially you parents. And I say you, because I know what it's like to get in that season where you're running everywhere, ripping and running, practices, events, all kinds of different things, recitals. Um, and, um, I tell you, if you're anything like me, sometimes you're just exhausted by the time you do all of the running you have to do to make sure your children are where they need to be and are doing what they need to do. And so I want you to be encouraged today. and to know that God is going to give you the strength, parents, to get through this season that you're in, that is called back to school and back to activities. But we're so excited again, just excited. I feel like I'm rambling. Um, but I'm just so excited to be here with you on today. All right, so let's get ready to prepare for the declaration. Many people ask, hey, Doc, what does REHAB stand for? REHAB is an acronym for Restore, Evangelize, Hope, Alternatives, and Breakthrough. It is the 5 pillars by which we attempt to operate ministry, even in this virtual space. And so we always walk through the declaration on Sundays. Um, um, we always walk through the declaration on Sundays so that you can set your tone for the week. That's so important. And I want you to prepare to set the tone for the week by repeating this declaration with us. And when you say this, I don't want you to just say this to repeat words. It's important that anything that comes out of your mouth, that you connect it with your spirit. How many times have we said things like, I feel like I'm about to die? Or, my head is killing me, right? It's one thing to say words and think that those words will come to pass. And our words do have power. But even more powerful than our words is really the spirit behind the words that we say. And so the spirit behind the words you say absolutely matter. And so I want you to prepare to say this declaration. You should see it on your screen, regardless of the network that you're tuned in. And let's walk through this declaration together, and we will go from there and get ready to dive right into this message. Say it with me. Restore. We declare that everything that is broken, lost, hurt, or destroyed that belongs to us and has been designed by God is restored. My faith is restored. My joy is restored. My mind is restored. Even my lost time is restored. I am no longer broken. The fact that I'm alive means I have another chance. My faith has restored me. And right now, His love is making me whole. Evangelize. Say this with me. We declare that God helped us so we can help somebody else. He loved me when I was unlovable. He changed me when I was a mess. His love lifted me when I was down. I'm not perfect, but I am free. And anything that came for me can't keep me. Because I'm free, my circle is next. My family is saved. My friends are blessed. My plans are successful. My goals are ahead of schedule. And anything connected to me is blessed, just like me. Hope. Say this with me. We declare that everything that is missing is not lost. In Jesus, I have hope. And this hope makes me confident. It doesn't matter what happens to me or around me. I'm going to win. My relationships are winning. My goals are winning. My family is winning. My neighbor is winning. This city will win. And my virtual row has the victory. My past is defeated. And my future is brighter today than it was yesterday. Alternatives. Say this with me. We declare that God made us different. I'm a royal child, the light of the world, and the hope of my city. I respect the past, but I don't look like what I've been through. I love the church, and my life is balanced. I love coming to church, but I like flights, boats, and vacations. My whole life is blessed. I am the head and not the tail. I am above and not beneath. I am a lender, not a borrower. And every place I go belongs to me. Breakthrough. Say this with me. We declare that God has a breakthrough with our name on it. I have some challenges, but I'm not defeated. No weapon formed against me can prosper. And I know that all things are working for my good. Things are not breaking down. They are about to break through. There is a breakthrough in my career. There is a breakthrough in my home. There is a breakthrough in my health. There is a breakthrough in my finances. I am here on purpose for a purpose. And everything that went wrong is getting ready to turn around. My friends, did you make that declaration this morning? If you did, do me a favor. I want you to type in the comments now in all capital letters. If you made that declaration, a win is a win. Hurry. A win is a win. A win is a win. We've been making this declaration all year long. And lo and behold, we are almost through the month of September. We're at the halfway point of the month of September. And I tell you, man, it's just we're beyond the halfway point, actually. A few days beyond the halfway point of the month of September. And this year is really flying by fast. It's flying by. And so I want you to make that declaration today. Why? Because we celebrate progress in your life. We celebrate the progress that God's making in your life, concerning your life, and concerning every area of your life. You've got to learn how to take the good with the bad, the small with the big, the happy with the sad. A win is a win is a win, and it's still a win. I want you to be excited about that. Come on, type it in the comments, all capital letters, as big as you can. A win is a win. I want you to encourage someone today to understand that and to embrace that as a part of the journey that God has them on. And we know that God's going to bless you this morning for encouraging somebody else. All right, a win is a win. And we're so excited about that. Good. Say good morning in the chat area again as you jump on. Hit that @ symbol. Start tagging people. Tell them to tune in. This week's scripture for the week is Joshua chapter number 2. All right, Joshua chapter number 2 is our scripture for the week. Go ahead and type that in the comments so that everybody sees it, so that you know what it is and are reminded of what it is. But Joshua chapter 2 is our scripture for the week. We were in Joshua chapter 1 last week. And man, Explanation Thursday, I think I went on for like 22 minutes. If you did not see that, go to our Instagram page. You can see Explanation Thursday last week. I think it was 22, 23 minutes. It was insane. Joshua chapter 1 was powerful. And we had a really good time last Thursday at 6:45 in the morning. And so this week will be no Explanation Thursday. There will be no Explanation Thursday. This week, I will be on vacation for my birthday. My birthday is Saturday, and I will be on vacation. And so there will be no Explanation Thursday this Thursday. The hope is that Dr. Zed will be asleep and resting at that time. And so we will pick up with, and we're going to do something that we've never done before. We're going to, for 2 weeks in a row, we're going to read Joshua, the same chapter. So we're going to read Joshua chapter 2 this week and next week. And then the next Thursday, I think that's like the 28th or something like that. We're going to then do Joshua chapter number 2 as a part of Explanation Thursday. And so again, no Explanation Thursday this Thursday. Thanks so much, Brother B. I really appreciate it. No Explanation Thursday this Thursday. And we will pick up the following Thursday with Explanation Thursday, Joshua chapter 2. So you got 2 weeks to get through Joshua chapter 2. And listen, I got a feeling that Thursday is going to be another long one because there's so much. That chapter is a doozy as well. When we think about who God used in Joshua chapter number 2 to help the Israelites who were sent as spies to the land, to survey the land that God was sending to them. And he uses a special person that I'm going to take some time to talk about. And it's going to offend a whole lot of people who think that God only uses a certain kind of person. He literally, in Joshua chapter 2, uses a harlot to deliver Israel. And I'm telling you, it's just going to be crazy. I can't wait. Read Joshua chapter number 2. You're going to be blessed. No life study this Tuesday. So you have this week off. No life study this Tuesday. No Explanation Thursday this Thursday. And of course, we're going to be right back here on Sunday for our broadcast, and can't wait to see you for part 5 in the finale. The finale of It's Done will be next Sunday, 9:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we can't wait to see you. All right, let's get right into this. Let's deal with part 4 of It's Done, and we're going to be in Exodus chapter number 14. I want you to type in the comments now, Exodus chapter 14. I'm in the New Living Translation, And good morning, Dad. I love you as well, you and Mom as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's look at this. Exodus chapter 14 is where we're going to be today. Go ahead and grab this. This is part 4 of It's Done. And it's so much here to unpack. We're not going to go through all of this, Exodus chapter 14, because we'd be here a long time. But I do want to, there are certain parts of this that we have to lift out that really brings us to understanding of what we're going to deal with today. And that is really phase 3 of the done process. Now, remember, let me refresh your memory. We've been talking about the done process and what that looks like. Step 1 was preparation. Step 2 was process. And today we're going to deal with what's called, I call, step 3 of the done process, which is called the pullout. And I'm going to explain this. Step 3 of the done process is what I'm calling the pullout. And this is going to make a lot of sense after you hear this. But let's start with Exodus chapter 14. I want to just read a couple of verses to give some context, okay? Look at verse number 1. Then the Lord gave these instructions. I'm in Exodus chapter 14, verse number 1. I'm reading the New Living Translation, okay? Exodus chapter 14, verse number 1. I am reading the New Living Translation. Get it? You want to share notes in the comments. And as always, you'll be the smartest person at your job all week long. Exodus 14, verse number 1 says this. Then the Lord gave these instructions to Moses. Order the Israelites to turn back and camp by Pi Hahiroth, between Migdal and the sea. Camp there along the shore, across from Baal Zephon. Look at verse number 3. Then Pharaoh will think the Israelites are confused. They are trapped in the wilderness. Now, this is important because God sends word through Moses, or Joshua rather. No, I'm sorry, through Moses. He says to him, tell the Israelites to stop in the wilderness. All right? To stop in the wilderness. And you're going to be between where you've come from, which is Migdal, and the sea that he's eventually going to part. So he says, leave where you are, don't go where I'm taking you, and stay in the middle. All right, this is going to be so good today. Stay in the middle. I want you to stay in the middle. And in the case of Israel, the middle was the wilderness. Look at verse number 4. And once again, verse 3. Then Pharaoh would think the Israelites are confused. They are trapped in the wilderness. Verse 4. And once again, I will harden Pharaoh's heart. He will chase after you. I have planned this order to display my glory through Pharaoh and his whole army. After this, the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. So the Israelites camped there as they were told. So the Israelites were sent to the wilderness from where they were. They had been prepared for the wilderness. They are pushed into the wilderness. And God says, when I send you to the wilderness, I want you to stay where you are. Let's get into this. So Israel is ordered to the wilderness by God. They are not sent there by the devil. They're not sent there by their enemies. It is God that forces them into this hot situation and tells them to stay there. This is important. I want you to record this. When God prepares us, he often sends us to the oven. This is going to be so good. When God prepares us, he often sends us to the oven. Right? He often sends us to the oven. Doc, what in the world are you talking about? Well, a prepared breakthrough sometimes is incomplete without trial. And really the purpose of today is to deal with the aspect of the done process that deals with your trials. Because the reality is this: people want breakthrough. I can just go ahead and give you the nuts and bolts of what today is all about in one sentence. Many people want breakthrough, but they don't want to go through a hard time to get it. And part of my research, PhD work, research is grounded in generational studies. And so, the Z's, the X's, the boomers, lost generation, I understand all of that backwards and forwards. It's something I spent 5 years on. in getting my PhD. And one of the things that I've noticed that the research and the data supports is that even some of it is generational, but not all of it is generational. I think it's lazy to say that older people have a drive to keep going forward and young people don't have a drive and they always easily quit. I can tell you in my work, in my professional work, and even in this religious space, I can tell you that drive is not immune to an age group. You can be young and lazy, you can be old and lazy, right? And so, this idea that laziness only belongs to young people, I think, is a very lazy perspective to have when we think about the fact that laziness is really one of those things that can impact everybody. And I think it's that point is very critical for this story because the text doesn't say that only the old people are driven into the wilderness or the young people. It says that the entire camp was driven. And I think it's important that we understand that anytime God prepares a major breakthrough in your life, you're going to have to go through some fire to get it. And so I don't care if you're young, old, I don't care what age range you fall into. I want to be crystal clear when I say this morning, that if you intend to receive anything significant from God, you've got to be expected to go into the oven. You have to be expected to go through hot, hard times in order to be fully prepared, or in order rather, for your blessings, your breakthrough to be fully prepared for you to receive it in the manner in which you intend to receive it. And again, there ain't no shortcuts in this. Many of y'all are trying to hop in the microwave so you can get in there real fast and get out. And the reality is the microwave only cooks things on the surface. You've got to have sometimes an oven experience so that God can complete what he's trying to give you in the most complete way possible. There's nothing nastier than popping something in the microwave. And because it's been in there, that the time the box says, when it gets out, it's either underdone or it's overdone. The oven, if you pay attention to what you're doing, and we're going to talk about this, always gets it right. Because the oven, that intense fire, that intense pressure, always cooks the product through and through, right? And so we've got to be careful not to rush this phase that we're talking about today, this pull-out phase. You can't rush it, but you can't let it stay too long either. And we're going to talk about this in just a second. This is going to be so good. I don't know where I do know where this stuff comes from. It is certainly God-given, but sometimes he just shows me the weirdest and most different things in the text when I read and study. And this is going to just be one of those things you're going to be like, wow. So again, they are pushed into the wilderness by God. Now, let me add this to that because I think this is important too. If then God pushed them into the wilderness so that they could be prepared to receive what it was that God intended for them to have, then we can make the argument that everything that happens to us that is uncomfortable, that is difficult, that is not a path that we would have chosen, that brings about some hardship, some difficulty, everything that we go through that falls in any of those categories, you cannot be quick to say it was the devil. And this is where I'm going to get some of you upset, because some of you have taken the text, the blessing of the Lord maketh rich and add no sorrow. And you said that God will never give you something that's hard because the blessings of the Lord make it rich and adds no sorrow. And that ain't what the text is exactly saying. It's not. Understand, there are some things that God will give you that as much as you try to avoid it, you're going to have to go through the oven to get it. You're going to have to go through the oven to get it. And when you recognize this, then you realize there ain't no cheat routes to getting the full manifestation of the full promises that God has for you. And the minute you try to shortcut him, is just like you taking something that cooks better in the microwave, or I'm sorry, in the oven, and popping it in the microwave. Many of you are popping your career decisions in the microwave. So you're taking jobs that have nothing to do with your passion. They don't even have a skill set that's going to help you to develop your the passion. Nothing. It's just it looks like a shortcut to get to the top, and you're taking that job and you're moving your career in that direction just to be able to get to the top or get to a point where you want to be, not realizing you just took your career and popped it in the microwave. Many of you are taking your relationships and connections with people, and instead of you enduring difficult times or difficult seasons or choosing the right people to endure difficult times and difficult seasons with, you so much in a hurry to get married that you're going out here grabbing anybody, dating anybody, accepting anybody and anything that they do, having no standards, no boundaries, no nothing. And that, my friend, accepting anybody is taking your desire for relationships and what? Popping it in the microwave. You've got to stop throwing your life. That's a word, y'all. I want you to put in the comments now. Stop throwing your life in the microwave. Stop throwing your life in the microwave. So many of you are so much in a hurry to get all of these things that you're rushing the process. You're rushing the process. Y'all, stop taking your life and put it in the microwave. Some of the best things that I've experienced in my life, Lord knows, and it's funny, y'all. Don't call me fat. It's always weird how I always tend to connect most of my messages with food, because food is normally always on my mind. But it's so crazy how some of the best meals I've ever experienced, I had to wait for. I had to wait for. They weren't instant classics, right? Some of the best things I've ever experienced, I've had to wait for. And I'm here to tell you, and we're going to talk about waiting next week, because that's really getting into part number 5. This whole idea of waiting is where I'm going to talk about next Sunday. That's just going to be incredible. But you got to understand, and it really just connects so beautifully. Like, this series has just been powerful. But you really got to understand that there are some things you really can't have and don't want until you go through the process of receiving them. Right? I said it last week. I'll say it again. Right? Your accomplishments hit different when you've gone through something to receive them. Now, I'm not saying I want you to suffer for everything. I'm not saying that at all. I believe that there are some things that God will bless you with that He will allow you to receive as sweatless victories, which mean things will flow into your life and you don't have to work for them. You don't have to, even in some cases, earn them. You know, He's a God that even gives us not only what we want and desire and work for, He'll give us things we don't deserve and we haven't earned. I'm a living witness of that. Right? There is such a thing as sweatless victories with God, and He can do it. But understand this. I've also discovered that most of the things that I've really desired for my life that were major things involve some element of oven time. Involve some element of sitting in the oven, being processed and prepared to receive what it was that I really desired to receive from God. And so, y'all, stop popping your life in the microwave. This is on my 5 things list this week. And this stuff just connects so beautifully even to my own life. There were seasons of my life where I was rushing things, and I just felt like I had to have this and that and them and this and all at certain times. No. Now I'm at a place where I have learned to let life happen and understand that there is a process to receiving things from God if you want them to be done when you receive them. Not rubbery or chewy or not hard and stale because they spent too much time in the microwave. All right? So stop throwing your life in the microwave. All right? Now, let's look at this. Let's go further. This is where it's going to get good. What did I just do? How did I delete that? Okay. Y'all, my iPad is acting real weird this morning. My old iPad, I think, is clunking out on me. All right. So again, to recap, God, y'all know I'm a student, so I'm taking notes here too. God tells Israel, stay in the wilderness. I push you out from where you are. I push you out from Migdal. You can't go to the sea, but I want you to park where you are in the wilderness, right? So they're there. Now, when you're in the wilderness, i.e., the oven, right? You are in essence being prepared for what God is trying to do in you or for you or through you. And sometimes this is an uncomfortable place. Now, I want you to record this. There are three outcomes when you are prepared for God's promises. Oh, this is going to be so good. I can't wait to get here. There are three outcomes when you are prepared for God's promises. When you are prepared to receive God's promises, i.e., you have gone through phase 2. We talked about that last week. You've gone through the preparation phase. All the materials have come together, and now you can say, hey, God, I am prepared for what you're about to do for me. There are then three outcomes that happen, right? There are three outcomes when you are prepared for God's promises. Outcome number one is this. When God prepares you for your promises, there are three things that are going to happen. Either number one, you will stay comfortable on the counter. I'm going to explain this. This is going to make so much sense in the context of food. Just bear with me. Outcome number one, you will stay comfortable on the counter. Let me explain what I'm getting at. If you are at home and let's say, for all intents and purposes, let's say, perfect. Let's say you're going to make baked chicken. For all intents and purposes, you're making baked chicken, right? So you have taken this chicken. If y'all hear my stomach growling, it's probably appropriate. You have prepared the chicken. You've thawed it. You've cleaned it. You've seasoned it. You've done all of that stuff, right? You prepared the chicken. You put it in the pan. You prepared it in there to get ready to go in the oven. The oven is on. All of what you've done for the chicken to get it ready for the oven has brought it up to a point where you now have it on the counter. Y'all don't miss this revelation, please. Please don't miss this. You have it on the counter and it's now prepared to go where? Into the oven. But if you don't take that chicken and put it in the oven and leave it on the counter, what's going to happen? You've cleaned it. I'm sorry, you thawed it. You cleaned it. You've seasoned it. You prepared the pan that it goes in. You've done all of those things. The oven's on, and you just sit it on the counter. If you sit that chicken on the counter, what's going to happen to the chicken? The chicken is going to slowly but surely go bad. I need y'all to hear me today. The chicken is going to slowly but surely go bad. Watch. In other words, the chicken is going to get comfortable on the counter, but it's going to die on the counter. This is going to be a lot for somebody today. Many people have not grown to be able to receive what God has for them, not because He doesn't have things, but because He prepared you for the season that He wants to take you to. But you died on the counter because you weren't willing to go in the oven. Y'all, let me put it this way, because I don't feel like I'm explaining this good this morning. Let me say it this way. What I call wasted talent is when somebody has all of the skill and the ability to be successful, but they don't have the will to go through the process. Oh gosh. Is anybody there? I don't see any comments. Are y'all there? Y'all, there is nothing more frustrated than to see somebody have the skills and the abilities, and they've gone through the process to develop those things necessary to have and to become everything they want to become. But like the chicken, you've thawed, you've cleaned, you've seasoned, and the pan you prepared to put it in, instead of finishing the process, you die on the counter. And God told me to tell somebody this morning, oh boy, if I was in front of y'all, this would be a time. This would be a time. God told me to tell somebody this morning, and I think Billy got the idea on Instagram. God told me to tell somebody this morning, don't die on the counter. That's a word. Somebody can have that. You go and preach it. You ain't even got to give me credit. I ain't worried about it. Don't die on the counter. Because it's sad, y'all, when you've gone through the process to being blessed. You've gone through the process to be blessed, but you weren't willing to finish it. This is why the word says the race is not given to the swift, the battle given to the strong. But it picks it up later. It doesn't say it concurrently, but it picks it up later. It says, he that endureth to the end shall be saved. The fact of the matter is, you've got to get to a place where you recognize that it is not good to die on the counter. Y'all, I have used to play sports in school. That's why it's always, I'll be honest with you, it's kind of euphoric. I never knew being a parent, and especially a father, would feel so euphoric when you watch your kids playing sports, especially if you played sports, right? Or you watch your kids doing anything that you've done, right? Singing, preaching, whatever. Business, maybe you had a business, your kids now have a business, whatever it is. There's nothing more euphoric than watching your kids, and you're going to see this, especially if you've got little kids. Maybe you've got newborns, toddlers, and they haven't gotten there yet. And I didn't recognize this when my kids were 2, 3. I didn't, it hadn't hit me. But when I watch my kids play sports, there's nothing more euphoric than to watch them play sports and do the things you used to do, and oftentimes do it even better. There's nothing more euphoric than that. But as a former athlete, I can tell you, there's also nothing more tragic than to see people have the skill to be able to go to the next level, but for whatever reason, they're not willing to get in the oven to complete the process. And sometimes getting in the oven means having good grades, or dedicating yourself to studying. Sometimes getting in the oven means choosing the right friends and the right circle, right? So you've been prepared to be successful, but in order to complete your success, i.e. go through the oven the right way, you got to connect with the right people, right? Sometimes it means that. I don't know what it is, but it's always been disheartening growing up as an athlete. There were guys I played with that never went to the league that could have went to the league. They had the skill set to go to the league. They had the skill set to go to college and have scholarships and perhaps go on and do great things. So they had the skill sets. They had everything up to prepared, but they died on the oven. Their skill set didn't go any further than where they are, because though they were prepared, they weren't willing to do the hard thing. And somebody needs to know this today, that it would be a detriment and a shame that if God spent all of this time and invested all of this time into your life, preparing you for what he has for you, that much like that chicken we're talking about preparing baked chicken, that much like preparing baked chicken, you've thawed the chicken, you've cleaned the chicken, you've seasoned the chicken, you place it in the prepared pan and prepare the chicken in the pan. But then you sit the chicken on the counter and let it sit there. And if you sit it on the counter and let it sit there, slowly but surely, the chicken is going to get bad on the counter. Watch this. I'm going to take it a step further. Have y'all ever smelled chicken that's been thrown in the trash can raw? Has anybody, show of hands, heart, something. Has anybody ever seen or smelled rather raw chicken that's maybe been thrown in the trash can, that's sitting in the trash can? Have you ever smelled raw chicken? I know this feels so much conversational this morning, but I want to really give this to y'all because I got to make this make sense. That's the gift God's given me. You ever smell raw chicken? Doesn't smell good. Raw chicken will run you out of your house. I remember I was living in an apartment years ago. Many years ago. I was living in an apartment in Greensboro, and I did something. I don't know what I did. I think there was a piece of chicken that I didn't cook for whatever reason, and I threw it in the trash can. And I was just living on my own. I mean, I had cooked before, but I'd never thrown raw chicken away. Typically, when I open chicken, I cook it. And I'd never thrown chicken away. But this time I did for whatever reason, and put the raw chicken in the trash can. Man, I remember going to work the next day and coming back home and walking to my house, and I literally thought a person was in my house dead. And the crazy part about it is I'm walking through the house looking everywhere. Like, what in the world? Maybe there's a mouse or something in my apartment. Like, what is this? And I could not detect where it was coming from because it had saturated. Oh, this is a word. The scent was so strong that it saturated the entire apartment. I'm trying to behave this morning because Claire, I don't want to get up and run around this house again. But y'all, listen to me. It's one thing for you to stink. It's another thing for you to have been stinking so long that you stink up the environments that you're in. And some of you, because you have not been willing to go through the process, you have not only created a stinking situation for you, but you have stunk up the environments that you're in because you've been left on the counter. Y'all not listening to what I'm saying. If you leave that chicken on the counter, if you leave it on the counter and you don't process the chicken, watch. Not only do you make that pan, if you left the chicken and just put it on the counter, you contaminate that counter. Not only do you contaminate where the chicken is, the trash can, you throw it in the trash. Not only do you contaminate the trash can or the counter or where it is, but chicken left unprocessed can contaminate an entire environment. Y'all ready? And this is why I'm trying not to raise my voice, but this is why it is even dangerous to be around people who only go through part of the process to become who they've been called to be and are not willing to go through all of the process. Because if they don't go through all of the process, not only will they die on the counter, they can jeopardize you because you're in their environment. Doc, that don't make sense. I get the chicken analogy. That don't make sense, Doc. I get how chicken can stink up a whole house, but that don't make sense. You want Bible? There was a man by the name of Jonah. Let me calm down. There was a man by the name of Jonah who did not complete the process that God had for him in Nineveh. And he figured he would be an unprocessed piece of chicken and sit on the counter. Instead of going through the oven and doing it the way God wanted him to do it so that he could be processed to be fully who he was called to be, Jonah said, forget that. I'm going to get on this ship and I'm going to go to sleep. Watch. Because Jonah did not allow himself to go through the process, i.e. the oven, Jonah gets on the ship, and because he was stinking so bad to God, God created a storm that rocked the whole boat. I don't feel like nobody's with me today. Jonah was the unprocessed chicken that was left on the counter that not only hurt himself, but spoiled an entire environment. And y'all better hear me today. That when you don't go through the process, watch, you have the potential to even spoil everything around you. This is a whole word right here. Are y'all listening to me? You have the ability to spoil the entire environment around you because you were not willing to go in the oven and go through the process. There's your Bible. If you do not go beyond the counter into the oven, you're going to die on the counter. And if you die on the counter, you're going to spoil so bad that you have the potential to even ruin the people or the things that are connected to you. Y'all, I'm going to just keep it 100 with y'all. If I could be honest with y'all, there are a lot of situations I've experienced where I did not want to go through the oven. I didn't want to get in the oven. It was too hot. In fact, I had already been through enough. I didn't want to go in the oven. I had already been through too much. And I almost said, like Israel, notice, Israel got so frustrated with God and with Moses. This is all Bible. They had gotten so frustrated with Moses that they looked at Moses in verse number 12. You want more Bible? Exodus. I'm in Exodus 14, verse number 12. New Living Translation. That Israel got so frustrated with Moses. Watch this. That in Exodus chapter 14, verse number 12, they look at Moses and look at what they said. Y'all see how this is connecting? Somebody ought to be there, and this ought to be making sense. In Exodus 14, verse number 12, they said, listen, no. Verse number 10 through 12, look at this. As Pharaoh approached, the people of Israel looked up in panic when they saw the Egyptians overtaking them. They cried out to the Lord. Now the Israelites had been prepared and was sitting on the counter. God said, listen, I prepared you. I'm going to sit you in the wilderness. They're on the counter. Watch. And they said to Moses, why did you bring us out here to die in the wilderness? Weren't there enough graves for us in Egypt? What have you done to us? Why did you make us leave Egypt? Didn't we tell you this would happen if while we were still in Egypt? We said, leave us alone and let us be slaves. It's better to be a slave in Egypt than a corpse in the wilderness. And some of y'all are missing the revelation. I feel like I'm talking over your heads today. You're missing the revelation to understand that if you're not careful, you can die on the counter and almost prefer to stay on the counter thinking it's going to be easier, when in actuality, not only are you going to stink, but you're going to rock your environment too. For some of you, your careers aren't going the way they should go because you're still on the counter. For some of you, your relationships aren't going the way they should go because you're stuck on the counter. For some of you, your business has not advanced as far as it could go because you're not willing to take a risk and get in the oven. You're just sitting on the counter. This is stuff, y'all, I can teach y'all from experience. And until you are willing to get off the counter, if you're not careful and stay there too long, you're not only going to spoil on the counter, you're going to contaminate the entire environment. You're going to contaminate your family. You're going to impact the blessings and the miracles and the breakthroughs that your family could experience because of your decision. Y'all, I'm just, again, going to be honest. I've gone through some hard seasons over the last 3-4 years. And I had to shift my thinking to understand that this is just preparation. But listen, y'all, there's levels to preparation. The chicken has been prepared, but are you now willing to go through the oven? And y'all, there were many days, if I can be honest, I would want it to die on the counter. Some of y'all not going to understand it. I don't mean dying a natural death. I'm talking about just stopping where I was. Look, God, I've done enough. I prepared enough. I'm going to just live with what I've happened here. I'm going to just live with being what I am right here and just be all right. But then I realized something. Watch this. That not only will I spoil what God has designed me to be, but the aroma will be so strong that it can impact my kids. Y'all don't like the way I'm teaching. It can impact the people connected to me that really care about me. And so some of y'all got to get off the counter, not just for you, but you got to get off the counter for everybody connected to you. Good God, right now. Are y'all listening to me? You got to get off the counter for everybody connected to you. Not just you, but everybody around you. Is this making sense? Look at this. There are three things that happen, outcomes, three possible outcomes when you're prepared for God's promises. Either number one, you're going to stay comfortable on the counter, which doesn't end well. Let's look at number two. The second outcome is you'll die in the oven. You will die in the oven. Doc, what do you mean you'll die in the oven? Well, if I put the chicken in the oven, I prepared it. Remember, I thawed it, cleaned it, seasoned it, prepared it in the thing, cut on the oven. I put it in the oven. That's great. I've gone in. But watch this. Watch this. I can't cook chicken in the oven at the right temperature and bake chicken in the oven at the right temperature for 3 or 4 hours. Some of y'all better catch this word. If you got a pan full of chicken legs and you put it in the oven for 4 hours at the right temperature, what's going to happen? Y'all hear my stomach? I told y'all this message was very appropriate to how my stomach is feeling this morning. What's going to happen if I prepare the chicken and put it in the oven, a pan full of chicken legs and chicken breasts, and put it in the oven for 4 hours at the right temperature? What's going to happen to that chicken? I'll tell you what's going to happen. The chicken is going to burn in the oven. Y'all, I'm going to talk about this next week. I don't want to get into this too much right now. But understand this. This is why the Bible tells us to everything, there's a time and a season. And I'm going to really pick up with this on the third point as well. To everything, there's a time and a season. Y'all, there isn't such a thing as going into the oven called life, where God is preparing you for great things in your life. So you've been cooperative and you've been obedient and you've allowed him to place you in the oven to process you. But there's such a thing as staying in the oven too long. It's an old country song that used to say, you got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to walk away. And many of us have been guilty of staying in situations too long and then shocked when we ended up getting burned in the situation where we stayed too long. Gosh, I don't feel like this is making sense. Maybe I'm not teaching good today. I don't see no hearts flying, no comments, no nothing. Y'all must just really be locked in. Are y'all listening? If you stay in situations beyond the time limit assigned to those situations, the thing that was designed to prepare you can turn around and burn you. The thing designed to prepare you can turn around and burn you. You don't believe me? Prepare the chicken today. Y'all prepare your Sunday dinner today, Sunday brunch. And prepare that chicken, those chicken legs and thighs and wings that you're going to bake in the oven. Go ahead and prepare it. Set it in the oven for 5 hours and let it cook on regular temperature and see what happens. And it's crazy how we get shocked at the things that are sometimes sent or designed to help us end up hurting us. Watch. But we have to take personal accountability and responsibility. This is why it's important to understand the seasons and the times and the timing of God. Right? We're going to get to that in the third reason or the third outcome. So important to understand the times and the seasons of God. There are some places you are designed to be for a long time. There are some places you are designed to be for a short time. There are some places you are designed to be for an in-between time. But the worst thing you can do is stay longer than what you're supposed to stay. Y'all, because I don't care if it was a job, I don't care if it was a relationship, I don't care what it was. Any season or thing in my life that I've ever stayed longer than I was supposed to has always never worked out right. Oh my gosh. Y'all not listening to me. Anything that I've ever stayed in too long or stayed connected to too long, eventually I burned it. And it hasn't worked out right. This is why we have to understand the importance of following the direction and instruction of God. Because some of you, then, your intellectual mind should be saying, well, then, Doc, how long do I stay in the oven? How long do I stay in the oven? Well, like most things that you prepare in the oven, they come with instructions. Which means you should never try to prepare any season in your life without reading first the instructions. Where do we get those instructions from? It's obvious. Should be. We get those instructions from God. If we listen to him, he'll guide us. And even if you can't hear his voice yet, you've got the ultimate instruction manual. Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against it. Thy word is a light unto my feet, a lamp unto my feet, a light unto my pathway. He sent his word, and it healed them of all of their diseases. We are overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony. It is God's word that'll give you instruction on how long you ought to be cooking the chicken. So when you don't know what to do or how to proceed, read the instruction manual. Y'all, is this making sense? So you can't stay in the oven long, or the thing that was designed to prepare you can burn you. Y'all, I saw a pastor type this. This was so good. A pastor typed this on Facebook. Pastor Derek Hawkins, shout out to him. Pastor Derek Hawkins in Greensboro. He put up a status on his Facebook. I happened to see it. I logged on to post, I think it was my Wednesday video or something. I can't remember. And he had put something on there. You're really challenging pastors to realize what they've been called to be. And this is something, if you've been around me at Rehab for any significant period of time, you've heard me say this a million times. I'm not a pimp. I've always told my church, if you ever hear a rumor about me, if you don't see me in the newspaper, it might say something like local pastor indicted on pimping charges for running women. It ain't gonna be for nothing crazy or killing nobody, nothing like that. But I always say that to be sarcastic, But many pastors really treat pastor like a pimp. And Pastor Hawkins really nailed this with the status that he put, where he was telling pastors, he says, listen, imagine a scenario where you start cursing people because they leave. And you say, well, they left, and if you leave, you're not going to be blessed anywhere else because you left me, or you're not going to be blessed. And I'm not wording it the way he did. He did it beautifully. Just look at his post, Pastor Derek Hawkins. He nailed it. He said, imagine, Pastor, if you cursing people because they left, and you saying, oh, because you're not in my ministry, God ain't going to be with you. His hand's not going to be on you. And he said, that's crazy because people don't understand the seasons and the timing of God. But sometimes people are with you for a lifetime. Sometimes. Whether you want to accept this or not, people are with you for a season. And so if you're a pastor and you can't accept the fact that everybody that start with you ain't going to finish with you, you don't even need to start. This is teaching here, y'all. This is good old-fashioned teaching. For all of you that think you got a calling on your life to lead, and especially pastor people, if you think the people that start with you are going to finish with you and all too, and you can't stop yourself from trying to curse them because they go to a different season. People go to different seasons for different reasons, different needs. Sometimes they move and relocate, whatever the case may be. If you can't accept the fact that people go through different seasons of your life, number one, and number two, you don't own people, don't even get into this work. Stay where you're at. If you want to be a business owner and you intend to have employees or customers or clients, and you think that the customers and clients, because many of you are not going to understand the church example, let me give you a business one. You think the church, the customers or the clients that you have today are going to be the ones you have forever, and you get mad because they go to another business that does what you do, don't even start your business. Because the fact of the matter is, y'all, I've been to Lowe's and Home Depot. Some of y'all are going to catch that later. It's going to really click when you hear what I just said. I've been to Lowe's and to Home Depot. I've been to Lowe's and to Home Depot. I mean, is this registering? I've been to Lowe's and Home Depot. You got to get this, y'all. People are in seasons of their lives. And Minister Carlos just said it beautifully here. Sometimes you can get the same thing at different places. Y'all don't think that Lowe's is the only place that sells hammers. Y'all, I'm about to get in trouble while I'm saying it, but I'm going to go and do it now because I'm on the roll. I feel like teaching. I only need about 7 more minutes of your time and I'm done. This is where churches get in trouble. Churches get prideful and boastful and say, you can only be saved if you come to my church. You can only experience God's presence if you come to my church. Miracles are only going to happen for you if you come to my church. And when churches start thinking and operating like that, number one, you create incredible division. Incredible division. Number two, churches feel more like country clubs than places where people should go to get saved and help. Church shouldn't feel like a country club, where if you don't have a certain membership card, you can't come in. I know y'all don't want to hear this today. I don't care. If you don't have a certain membership card, or you don't look a certain way, or dress a certain way, or think a certain way, or act, you're not welcome here. The only exception that I have to that rule, and I'm just going to be straight out and be honest about it, and if I'm wrong, then God will correct me one day. He ain't done it yet. The only exception I got at my church is you can't be mean and come to my church. I'm sorry. And I know that ain't Bible, and y'all can criticize me, and I'll take it. Because I can't fathom, for the life of me, how people can say they love God and be mean at the same time. I ain't figured that out yet. And I got Bible to support it. The fruit, not the fruits, fruit of the Spirit. One of them is gentleness. So now if you mean and you refuse to work on your meanness, that ain't a word, I prefer you not come. I know I'm not supposed to say that. I just said it. I prefer you not come. Unless you're willing to come and say, this is something, a part of me that I want to fix. But churches become like country clubs because churches have fallen into this trap that my church is the only place where you can buy a hammer, i.e. you can get saved, you can help, you can be empowered. And the fact of the matter is, y'all, there are a lot of churches out here that are doing good work, that are teaching solid words, that are empowering people. Stop acting like you're the only place that sell carpet. Y'all listen to me? Lord, I got the hiccups. Stop acting like you're the only place that sell nails. And watch this. When you focus that way, you recognize that you can go through seasons where you have customers for years. You have seasons where those customers decide, you know what, it's been a great run, but I think I like the hammer that Home Depot is selling, and I'm gonna go over there and get that hammer from over there now. Y'all gotta stop cursing, folks. Oh, you curse. If you go over there and get a hammer over there, you curse. Nah, bro. I learned this early in my pastoring. I don't have time to curse people because I'm not a pimp. You don't belong to me. None of you belong to me that are members or supporters or both. You don't belong to me. I recognize that there are times and seasons with God. Some people are with you for a season. Some people are with you for a time, right? Which means they're going to be there from start to finish. And I just know, y'all, that unfortunately, but it's true, everybody that starts with you doesn't finish with you. And y'all, that's okay. That's okay. Is this making sense? Here's the third outcome, and then I'm done. Here's the third outcome, then I'm done. So when we think about why is my iPad acting so weird this morning? When we think about the three outcomes when you are prepared for God's promises, outcome number one, you will either stay comfortable on the counter. Outcome number two, you will stay in the oven too long. How did my note get deleted? I'm glad I remember my notes. How did I do that? I think that's why my iPad's tripping. Outcome number two, you will stay on the counter too long. Stay in the oven too long. I don't know how that got deleted out of my notes. This is wild. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm having a technology issue right now. Like my iPad is really tripping. My old one I use for each other. You either stay on the oven long, y'all don't laugh at me, Billy. You stay in the oven too long, or outcome number three. And this is the outcome you want. You ready? The third outcome, when it comes to being prepared for God's promises, is the one you want. And it is, you will endure the heat and come out of it. You will endure the heat and come out of it. So either you're going to die on the counter, you're going to stay in the heat too long, or you're going to endure the heat and come out of it. And I'm going to talk about endurance next Sunday, because the fifth and final part of it's done is really going to deal with endurance. You're going to endure the heat and come out of it, which means you're going to come out and pull out so that you don't burn in it, which means you're going to understand the time and the seasons and the instructions of God. This is where Israel struggled, because God was telling them through Moses, look, I got you in the wilderness, but it's a part of a larger plan. And y'all, oh God, you've got to go in the oven recognizing that the oven is a part of a larger plan. You have to go in the oven recognizing that it's a part of a larger plan. Can I be honest with y'all? The only reason why I've been able to endure some oven experiences in my life is because I went in the oven realizing and recognizing that what I'm about to go through is temporary. It won't always be like this. It won't always be like this. God will perfect that. We've seen this, I used to sing this song all the time at rehab. God will perfect that concerning you. Sooner or later, it's going to turn in your favor. It's going to work it out for you. Sometimes you got to go in the oven knowing you ain't going to be there forever. Sometimes when I'm working out in the morning, it's early. And I've had 3 hours of sleep, like this morning. 3, maybe 2 hours of sleep. Could not sleep. Woke up and could not go back to sleep. That alarm goes off. You don't want to get up. But then you realize that the fatigue ain't going to be there forever. What reminds you and sometimes pushes you forward is to recognize that pain is temporary. Somebody needs to hear this today. Some of y'all don't want to go in the oven because you don't want to endure the pain. You don't want the chicken to process because you don't want to go in the heat. But you got to recognize that stuff temporary. The oven can't stay on forever. And so one of the things that has gotten me through some of the hardest times of my life, I'm just trying to help somebody today. I don't know if I am. One of the things that's got me through some of the hardest periods of my life that have now brought me to some of the best times of my life. I remember one of the greatest seasons of my life I've ever had in my entire life. Y'all, I was blessed to have a meeting with a few of our seniors. Missed you, Mother Brenda. Was blessed to have a meeting with a few of our seniors this Friday and just talking to them about some things that are on my heart that are going on. And just shared a little bit with them and just, listen, I'm in one of the greatest seasons of my life. And I have testimonies that would just shock y'all. Y'all wouldn't believe it. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you how I got here. I got here because there were also some seasons I had to sit in the oven. And it wasn't fun. And people were talking. And people thought I was burning. People thought that I wasn't coming out. Sometimes I thought I wasn't coming out. But you know what got me through some of those hard times? It was realizing that I wasn't going to be in the oven forever. Sometimes the best way to get through a hard time is to accept the fact that the hard time has an expiration date. You ain't going to be in there forever. You ain't going to struggle financially forever. You're not going to struggle in your career forever. Your relationship and marriage doesn't have to struggle forever. But if you allow those things to go through the oven, go through the process, they will be more prepared than they've ever been before. How do we do that? We do that we go in the oven knowing that going in the oven is a part of a larger plan. Y'all, if you want to know how to go through hard seasons in your life, and you can see those seasons coming just like that chicken can see that oven coming when you're about to put it in there, and that chicken, how am I making it like a chicken talking? That chicken's like, no, I don't want to go in the oven. I don't want to go in the oven. No. And you're putting that chicken in the oven. No. That's how many of us are when we're being placed in hot situations that are designed to develop us. And I'm telling you, you got to go in the oven knowing that it's a part of a larger plan. That in fact, you can't get to a place called done without going through the oven. You can't get to a place called finished or complete without going through the oven. Many of y'all just like him, no, like the chicken, no. You don't want to go through the oven, but you have to. And you got to go in knowing it's a part of a larger plan. Now, I don't have time to deal with this, but if you even read this text, in those verses 10 through 12, the children of Israel get real passive aggressive, claiming it would have been better, God, just keep us here. We don't even want to go. Just let us die right here. They get real passive aggressive with Moses. But they didn't even realize that staying in the oven would have meant burning in the oven. Staying in the wilderness would have meant dying in the wilderness. God had already ordered the children of, had already ordered the Egyptians and Pharaoh's army to pursue them. So if in their passive aggressiveness, God would have honored what they wanted, they would have died where they were, because where they were would have consumed them. Y'all, don't be passive aggressive with God. I mean, that's a word by itself. Y'all stop being passive aggressive with God. I ain't got no help this morning. You know how you're passive aggressive with God? You're passive aggressive with God when He takes you through hard times, and then you start saying stuff like, God, why did you bring me here to have to deal with this? Y'all not even helping me today. I feel like I'm not even teaching good. Y'all must be seriously processing this morning because I don't see a lot of comments or nothing. You are passive aggressive with God when you're going through things and you're like, God, why are you making me do this? God, why are you making me handle this? God, I would have been better off, God, if you just kept me at the old job with the old boss that I had. I mean, he wasn't the best boss. She wasn't the best boss. But at least I didn't have to deal with this drama that I'm dealing with right now. We literally talk to God like that. And we get real passive aggressive again. Not realizing that in our passive aggression, we're missing the larger purpose of what God's trying to do through us by allowing us to go through that process. Y'all stop that. Recognize that staying where you are sometimes means burning where you are. Never stay in something longer than what you need to. To everything, there's a time, a season, and a purpose under the heavens. And that includes the time that it takes for you to go through the oven or the hard times in your life to be processed and refined to be everything you need to be. Y'all, did this make sense today? Come on, y'all. Fill it up with hearts. If this made sense, don't play with my emotions. This made sense, makes sense today. This was a word. Fill it up with hearts if it did. This is a word that somebody needs to go back and listen to again. But you don't even realize that this critical phase of obtaining the great things that you desire for your life and for your family, there's a phase called pulling out, which means you've got to go in the oven. Number one, you got to be willing to go in there. But number two, you can't stay in there too long. You got to pull yourself out of it. And when you recognize this, you're going to look at adversity different. You're going to look at hard times different. You're going to look at difficult seasons in your life so much more different. Because you recognize that everything, there's a time and a season. Y'all, I want to pray for you today. What a word this was. Yikes. I want to pray for you today. Listen, if you got a prayer request, I want you to type it in the comments right now. I think some of y'all are just really processing. You must be processing this word today. I want you to type your prayer request in the comments today. 4:08 in the morning, Monday through Friday, I'm up. I pray over your prayer requests. And I'm going to be praying some this week. When I go on vacation, y'all know the routine. I'm going to really take that opportunity to rest for just a couple of days. I won't be gone long at all. I'm going to take that opportunity to rest, enjoy my birthday. But I'm going to be praying for you. I want you to go ahead and type in your prayer requests so that I can pray for you this week while I am praying, especially for your needs, because we know that God is answering prayers. I'm so excited, y'all. I've been hearing so many reports about so many of you. I haven't seen so many of you in person in forever. Occasionally, I'm blessed to be able to see your stories on your timelines and things, on my timeline. When I'm in social media sometimes, and sometimes people just reach out, write me, they email me, they text me, and just update me on the great things that are happening. And I'm so excited for how God is really doing so many tremendous things for so many of you. And I'm certainly praying that He continues to do that. Listen, I don't care what the prayer request is. You can type it in the comments now. If we can't read it, you can email your prayer request to info@rehabcc.org. That's info@rehabcc.org, and put in the subject line prayer requests. All right, would you do that? Put in the subject line prayer requests, and I want you to know that I'm praying for you and I'm rooting for you. Yes, your daughter's in school. We talked about it. It's so funny you mentioned that. We talked about that earlier when we started the broadcasting. I'm starting to see those prayer requests now. I'm praying for your children in school and daycare, those of you that are going back to work, that are going back to school. Those of you that will be traveling like me, I've got some travel set up for September and October and possibly November and December as well. It's going to be a very busy end of the year for me, but it's all good things. It's all good things. God has been incredibly good to me, and I can't complain. I really can't complain even if I wanted to. So yes, I'm praying for traveling mercy. I'm praying for healing for those of you that are still back and forth with your health and wellness, that God would answer your prayers and answer the prayers of your family and certainly bring all of you out as only He can. Listen, y'all, let's pray. I want you to connect your hands like this as a sign, a symbol of faith, as if we're holding hands, touching and agreeing. And I want to pray with you really quickly. All right, let's do it. Father, in Jesus' name, I thank you today for your word. And thank you for this time of gathering you allowed us to have today. It's my hope and prayer. Something was said or explained in a way that has empowered your people as only you can. Thank you, God, for sending your word today. Thank you for allowing us to understand your word in a practical way. We praise you, God, for the gift that you've given. And God, we give it back to you so that you can continue to use it to empower people and help us to understand that there are times and seasons in you, that hard times don't last always, but people that are strong and courageous will grow to become everything you designed them to be and so much more. Now, God, for every prayer request, God, Sister DeAndrea, every Mother Brenda, Mother Joyce, everybody that's typed in prayer requests today that we can see, we lift these prayer requests up to you now and ask God that you would answer the prayers of your people as only you can. Make ways, open doors, meet needs, and grant the heart's desires of your people. Even those prayer requests that have been emailed to our inbox that we haven't read yet, that we haven't seen yet. We ask that you would answer the prayers of your people, that you would make ways, open doors, and fix situations as only you can. We praise you, God, because we know this week is going to be an incredible week filled with miracles, an incredible week filled with breakthrough, an incredible week filled with open doors and granted new opportunities. And God, we make you this simple promise, as we do every single week, that as you continue to open doors and create new favor, we will not take the credit, but we'll give your name all of the glory. It's this and all things we ask and proclaim in Jesus' name. Amen. Do me a favor. I want you to type in the comments quickly. It is so. It is so. It is so. It is so. Yes, praying for you, Brother Billy, and your friend. See so many prayer requests. Good. They are rolling in. Y'all are really laying it on this morning. I love that. Yes. Love the prayer requests, y'all. I love it. This is what it's all about. I ain't gonna lie. I love Sundays. But I really like this portion of Sundays. I love praying for you. I do. Because somebody prayed for me when I didn't have the strength to pray for me. Somebody prayed for me. Somebody was rooting for me. And I love praying for you. Put it in the comments. It is so. If you prayed that prayer of faith, it is so. Because every time you say amen, you're saying it is so. You're saying it is done. It is completed. And I want you to know that God's answering your prayers as only He can. Listen, if you want to be saved today, I want to pray with you. The Bible tells us in Romans 10:9, and I paraphrase, it says that if we, in essence, confess with our mouths and believe with our hearts that Jesus Christ is who He is and did what He did for us, we are saved. Salvation has absolutely nothing to do with how perfect you are. And it has everything to do with your honesty, and everything to do with you recognizing that you serve a God that is greater than all of your mistakes. He's greater than all of your flaws, greater than all of your issues. He's greater than all of your shortcomings. If you want to be saved today, I would not dare end this broadcast. Yes, we're over. But I don't want to end this broadcast without at least offering Christ to you today, right where you are. So if you want to be saved and you're driving, I want you to pull over. If you're eating brunch, I want you to put down the bacon. If you're laying in bed, I literally need you to sit up right now because God wants to save you right where you are. And the good news is it doesn't require a building for you to be saved. All it requires is your confession and your commitment. And so if you want to be saved, I want you to repeat this prayer of faith with me. Say this with me. Say it. I'm a sinner. I'm not perfect. I've made some mistakes. I have some flaws and failures. But I do believe that Jesus Christ was born of a virgin. He lived on this earth just like I'm living. He suffered, bled, and died on the cross. But 3 days later, rose again for my sin. Because He lives, I can live, and I am saved. My friends, if you prayed that prayer of faith, I want to welcome you to the royal family of Jesus Christ. You've made an incredible decision in giving your life to Him. Now, I want you to take this decision. I want you to go and find your church home somewhere where you can continue to grow and develop in your faith. Maybe it's an in-person place. Maybe you want to continue to grow right here with us virtually while we are all virtual at this time. You can continue to grow here. We certainly encourage you and welcome that. I want you to go find your church home where you can not only grow, but you can dedicate your time, effort, and energy and resources into that ministry so that you can continue to grow in your faith. All right? Go be a part of that ministry so that you can grow, so that God can continue to fill you and work and bless every area of your life as we know only He can. And I promise you're going to be excited about making that decision for your life and for your family, your children, right? Because what many people fail to realize is that when God saves you, it is the opportunity to shift a generation, right? Everything connected to you. He said that the promises of salvation aren't just for you, but to your children and your children's children. And anyone that is even afar off, that's called, which means that when you make the decision to live for Christ, you're automatically impacting your children, your family, those connected to you. So I want to welcome you to the royal family of Jesus Christ and let you know that I'm so excited that you made that decision today. Let me challenge you to give quickly. This message, if this ministry has been a blessing to you, I want to challenge you to give. You can give one of three ways. You can give via CashApp. You can give $REHABCCGIVE. That's $REHABCCGIVE. You can give through our website, www.rehabcc.org, and simply choose online giving. Or you can text RehabWorks to 336-642-3210. That's RehabWorks to 336-642-3210. All right. Again, you can give via Cash App, $REHABCCGIVE. That's $REHABCCGIVE. You can give through our website, www.rehabcc.org, and simply choose online giving. You can text RehabWorks to 336-642-3210. We promise you that if you give either one of these ways, God will continue to bless you. Good measure, pressed down, shaking together, and running over. He will send people into your life to be a blessing to you. I'm a living witness because of the way you've given. And that's what we're expecting Him to do today. Listen, y'all, I love y'all. I'm praying for y'all. I'm rooting for y'all. Have a fantastic week. I'm going to miss you on Tuesday. Remember, there is no life study this Tuesday. There is no explanation Thursday, this Thursday. Your scripture for the week is Joshua chapter 2. You, in essence, have a couple of days off. I'm going to take some time and get some rest before gearing up for this last part of the season and celebrate my birthday just a little bit. And just so, again, grateful and excited to be on the cusp of celebrating another year, and just grateful for all of you, for all of your support as well. I love y'all. I'm praying for y'all, rooting for you. Joshua chapter number 2. And then we will see you next Sunday for part 5 and the finale of It's Done. Can't wait to see you. I'm praying for you, rooting for you. I want you to have a fantastic week. We will see you next Sunday. All right. Peace and blessings. Love you and your family. Have a great week. Bye now.